about to give you two scenarios in this video. So one scenario, you're at a business meeting and you have a great idea and you know if you speak up, this will change your life completely. But something just holds you back and something stops you. I'm going to give you a more common scenario. You see that person you want to date. You maybe have that crush on them. You like them a lot. But then you see them, you say, you know what, today's the day. I'm about to walk over there, march over there, in fact, and talk to them. But then, out of nowhere, some magical force, something out the heavens, something outside of reality, something in your imagination just holds you back, and you say you cannot do it. You want to know what this mysterious thing is? I'll tell you what it is. It is rejection. It is that fear of rejection. And I'm going to tell you how in this video, this fear of rejection is literally stopping you from accomplishing all your dreams. Everything that you could possibly believe that you could achieve is really behind those fears of rejection. But I don't want you to worry, because in this video, I'm going to show you how to get over the fear of rejection so you can start accomplishing things in your life that you could really live up to if you start facing rejection. Let's talk about it. Let's start off by understanding why we hate rejection so much. I think if we're going to get proper context on why we let rejection stop us from accomplishing all our dreams, we have to understand why we hate rejection so much. So the reason I'm going to tell you why you hate rejection so much is because you misinterpret what rejection means. So many times in life we have the ability to look at something and say, well, why is that happening this way? What does it mean to us? And we overblow the situation. But I'm going to tell you why people basically hate rejection. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is loss of status. So anything we do, it's for status. Think about it. When you buy a new car, why are you buying that car? Are you buying it just because you love nice cars? Or are you buying it because the status increase that it might give? A while back I talked about in Why Your Marketing Sucks how people will go to the club and they'll buy expensive bottles that are $30 in the club, but they actually end up selling for $500, $600, sometimes thousands of dollars in the nightclub. But why are they doing that? Not because it's a good value, because they get more status when they have it. So when we go into a situation and we look at a rejection, let's take something simple. Like if you go out there and you go into a meeting, you said, I'm going to put my idea out there and I'm going to see if they accept it. If you fail or you get rejected, then other people might be able to laugh at you. Your status might decrease. I don't want to get rejected. I don't want bad things to happen. What if I fail? What if my mom sees me fail? Oh, what if my spouse? What if my girlfriend sees me fail? What if somebody sees me not succeed? What am I going to do then? And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that status decrease. So that status decrease is stopping you from accomplishing all your dreams. Let's take it to another example. We tend to take rejections, we overblow them because there's a part of our brain, it's called the amygdala. And the amygdala response was another thing I talked about when we talked about fear. The amygdala has developed the response to protect us from getting into things that cause us danger. You know, things jumping out the bushes and eating us, a danger, weird people walking around maybe trying to attack us. All those things, that's what our amygdala has developed responses to. But that same feeling that you get when you walk up into, say, take a meeting, or you're going to have to go do a cold call, you might get rejected, you feel that same fear response. And nobody likes that discomfort. So then what happens is you say, you know what? I don't want to do it, so you lock up, you don't end up doing it. But once again, this is the fear of rejection. But it goes even deeper than that. A lot of times we can take rejection personally. So somebody might reject us. Let's say I'm walking on the street, and let's go back to the example. Let's say I walked up to some random girl here and I said, hey, you know, I think you're cute. And I go to talk to her. She could say, fuck off, right? Like you think people are cooler than you. So you sit there, you see that girl, and you be like, oh yeah, you know, you project all this, what you think she is. So she walking by, you like, oh yeah, you know, look at her face. Look at her, look, she got that face where it's like, if I talk to her, I already know I'm gonna get rejected. But the thing is, when you walk up to that person, you don't know. You walk up to them, they might be nice, they might be a straight nerd, but you have projected on them. And I think overblowing situations like that, that's why it happens. Like, that rejection is literally you just overblowing a situation. You walk up on those people, and they might be the nicest person you ever met. And I can say, oh my God, that must have meant something was wrong with me. That must have been something was wrong that I did. Or let's say you call somebody's business and you say, you know what, hey man, I'm trying to sell you this product, or I want to talk to you more about our service. And they say, you know what, fuck off. Once again, the magic F word. And you can say, damn, it must have been something wrong with my process. It must have been something I did. You take it personally. But let's look at a situation like this. I remember driving down the street, and I remember talking to this person. They said they were driving and somebody cut them off. They cut them off in traffic. And they thought to themselves, this motherfucker, this is an asshole, right? They were pissed off. Then they drove further down the street and they saw that that person was trying to get to a wreck. Somebody in their family member had gotten to a wreck, and they were trying to get there before that family member eventually passed away. They said their entire concept of how they felt about that person changed. Because what happened? Because that person had a whole different reason for having the behavior they had. So when you call somebody, when you go talk to this person sitting on the street, you don't know why they're doing that. It might simply be because they have something that's going on in their life, and that's why they choose to reject you. If you call somebody and somebody in their family just passed away, do you think they want to talk to you about your products or services? No. So you can't take the rejections personally. And this is one of the biggest reasons that we take rejections so personally, because we just misinterpret the situations. Whether it's fear, whether it's something that's going on with the other person, or it's us simply not wanting to have our status decrease, not wanting to have people look at us and say, oh, you took a loss, you took an L. All these things add up together to stop us and make us fear rejection. But now that we understand some of the reasons that stop us or we fear rejection, let's talk about some ways that we actually can use this to our benefit so we can start getting the things we really want in your life. Okay, so now that we understand some of the reasons we hate rejection, I want to talk about some simple ways that you can learn to overcome rejection. Here's the simple point you need to remember, that the only way that you can learn to be successful is if you take action regardless of outcomes. There's so many people, they're only taking actions if things are going to go their way. They're only taking actions if they're going to get a good outcome. They only want to hedge their bets where it's like, oh, if I take a risk, I want to make sure that things are going to return the right way. Well, I remember reading this book. It's called Light on Life Difficulties. It's by one of my favorite authors, James Allen. In this book, he says that the person who gets to enjoy the greatest successes in life is the person who takes actions or does things regardless of the outcomes. Let's look at a situation, let's say making calls. You might make calls or need to make cold calls or make a sale, but then you're sitting there and you think to yourself, well, I don't want to make those calls if I get rejected. But if you set out to start a business, what's the right thing to do? If you set out to grow your business, what's the right thing to do? Making the call, getting your idea in front of people. That is the right thing to do. But how many people don't do that because they don't want to face the rejection? That's the same thing I said when it comes to anything in business. I remember there's a story recently that happened, and if you remember the Hurricane Harvey thing, you'll know that it was a tragedy down here in Houston. Now, me and my friends got together, a group of entrepreneurs, and we formed a group called Entrepreneurs Taking Action, or ETA. Now, when I first formed this group, I thought to myself, well, what if people said I'm only leveraging this tragedy for personal gain? I'm just trying to grow my brand off it. I thought all these thoughts in my head, but then I realized something. If I thought about all those people, all those negative people, then I would never be able to accomplish the greatest good. So I had to say, fuck those people. But it became apparent to me why this was so important when one tragedy happened that changed my perspective forever. Me and my friend Will, my friend Cody, we're sitting at the house. Will gets a call on the phone and the girl says she's trapped in the house with her family. We rush to the phones and immediately start taking action. Because we had so many resources and so many entrepreneurs work together, we were able to not only find somebody on the internet, from somebody scouring through all the posts to find a boat to send to their house, but we were also able to find somebody when they got dropped off to actually pick them up and route them to the shelter. Now, because I chose to form that organization and us all working together, we potentially saved somebody's life. But what if I would have said, people might reject this idea. People might not go along with what I'm saying. I wouldn't have been able to do the greatest good. And that's the key. I'm not taking action based on outcomes. I'm not doing this video based on outcomes. I'm trying to reach you. I'm trying to make sure that you're learning from this. I could be like, oh, I'm not gonna do it because it's scary, it's people out here, it's trains and shit going by. I could not do it. But I choose to do it because this is the best thing for my brand. This is the best thing to help you learn. So here's the last thing I want to talk about before I go. You take two people. One person has the best idea in the world, and they get their idea in front of 10 people, but they're never going to talk to anybody else. Yeah, they get all 10 people, but how much success can you really achieve with just 10 people? Now, some person might say, oh, if it's the right 10 people, but just assuming 10 regular people. Now you take the other person who says, you know what? I have an idea that only 1 out of 10 people are going to sign up for. But you know what? I'm going to go talk to 1,000 people. I'm going to talk to 10,000 people. I'm going to talk to 1,000,000 people. Even though the idea might not be as good, that person is still going to see more success because they were willing to deal with the rejection that comes inevitably with trying to rise up in the world. So, if you want to be successful, the one thing that you need to remember, and the whole point of this entire video, is that you have to take action regardless of the outcome. Because that fear of failure and rejection is literally holding you back from accomplishing all your dreams. So to wrap this up, I just want you to remember that really fear of rejection and failure is stopping you from accomplishing all your dreams. Had this epiphany recently that, everything I wanted in life, it really came when I just said, you know what, fuck the rejection. Fuck if it's not gonna work. Fuck if they say no. I'm just gonna try anyway. But I find most of the time what happens is that when I do that, people end up saying yes. Yeah, I hear some no's, but at the end of it, I hear yeses. And then years down the road, when you're successful, you think anybody's gonna care about those rejections? You think anybody's gonna be like, damn, you got rejected 1,000 times, but you're a millionaire or a billionaire, or you've accomplished something, or you create an impact on people's lives? That's what this is all about. The fear of failure and rejection is holding you back from accomplishing all your dreams. Hope you see in this video that things like status and ego and fear responses are the things that are really stopping you, and how you can take those things and leverage that to understand that you have to take action regardless of outcomes. When you understand that, you'll be able to accomplish anything. You'll be able to accomplish your dreams. I want to thank y'all for watching again. I want you to join the Massive Action Movement. Go right now. Go down to say this is the subscribe button. I want you to go right down. I want you to stomp on that subscribe button, and I want you to join the Massive Action Movement. Follow the Massive Action Movement. Go to takingmassiveaction.com for more, and I'll see you next time.